The Roadie Strength Podcast is brought to you by Strength and Sport Physical Therapy for all your PT, recovery, and performance needs. We help you get back on the field, back in the gym, and back to a healthy and active life. What's our three-step process? Well, number one, we want to diagnose the cause of the injury. Number two, we want to make progress towards your goal. Number three, we want to push performance and prevent it from happening again. What's our history? Well, we were founded in 2017 within a CrossFit gym, Spartan 360, in Middletown, Rhode Island, with a dream to create a PT clinic that revolves around fitness. Since then, we've expanded to two separate locations in Rhode Island, Portsmouth and Providence. We hope to continue to serve Rhode Island and the greater community for many years to come. Our big goal is we want to help you get back to the activities you love. What's our edge? Why are we cut above the rest? Well, we provide one-on-one attention. Every session's with a doctor of PT. This helps you get the most out of your rehab. We provide a variety of techniques, whether it's dry needling, cupping, exercise, correctives, and we base our rehab basically on the most up-to-date research, whatever is evidence-based. And we specialize in athletics. We walk the walk of fitness and sport. We have certifications including the CrossFit Level 2, USAW, CSCS, SCS. We do bike fitting. We do running analysis, concussion rehab, dry needling. Really, we want to build a better you. To get in touch, give us a call or text 401-239-2784. You can give us an email, matt@strengthandsportpt.com. Follow us on Instagram @strengthandsport. Check us out online, www.strengthandsportpt.com. The Roadie Strength Podcast is now brought to you by Rob Levine, the heavy hitter. We've been really happy to have them jump on as a sponsor. I personally used them this past year. My wife was in a car accident, and they were able to help us along every step of the way through getting properly compensated, making sure we weren't getting taken advantage of by the car insurance companies, and helping through with medical payments. So if you've been in a car accident, it's definitely worthwhile. Just pick up the phone and see how they can help. The Roadie Strength Podcast is now sponsored by Soul Friend Yoga. Find them online at soulfriendyoga.com, on Instagram @soulfriendyoga. They're a locally based Rhode Island company over in Bristol. They also have a beautiful online presence. You can take a look at all their apparel, all their yoga mats online. Really nice website. And their materials and quality are top notch. Me and my wife both have a yoga mat from them. My wife has a lot of their apparel, the yoga pants, the tops, the accessories. Great company, great people. Definitely check them out either in person, online. Give them a follow. Soul Friend Yoga. The Roadie Strength Podcast is now brought to you by Perform Better. So you may know them initially from their bands, the mini bands, the loop bands, super bands. Just a really high quality rubber. They last a long time. They stretch really nicely, not like some of the cheapo ones. They're a local Rhode Island company. They're on the East Greenwich and West Warwick line, which is super cool. But they have reached national and international recognition. This company's been around for a long time. And they're just really known for having high quality gear, high quality equipment, outstanding customer service. Something breaks, they're willing to work with you, send it back, fix it. And just being really knowledgeable about their craft. They've been in the game for a long time. They do a lot of facility design, for the high schools, colleges, but they really work a lot with the pro teams, NBA, MLB, NHL, NFL. They have really good relationships with a lot of these teams. They do a lot of custom build-outs for their facilities, custom build-outs for their gyms, dumbbells, platforms, putting the custom logos in there, you name it. So some really cool stuff they're doing on that front. As far as education goes, they do a lot of courses. So whether online or in person, they have some of the top level courses in the strength and conditioning industry. And their Perform Better Summit, where you can actually go in there and listen to some of the top people in the industry and actually talk with them after the lectures, which is so cool, which you can't really get through some of this online stuff. But the education, they do really, really well. And the company's just great. It's, I've met a lot of people there. They're tight-knit. They're good people. So check them out, performbetter.com, and on Instagram @performbetter. All right, what's going on, guys? Dr. Matt here, host of the Roadie Strength Podcast. We got another special guest on today, Kyle Cox. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. So just want to give people a quick intro because we'll get obviously into the story and kind of everything about you in a second. But a quick intro about you. So I know you were a former Marine, you're a distance runner or gunner running, and recently have had some trouble, some tragedies with your son Luke with a diagnosis. And can you tell me the diagnosis again? Because I know it's more of a rare one.
Yeah, definitely. So it's called Dup15Q, or duplication of the 15th chromosome.
Mhm.
So it's a pretty rare genetic disease that causes autism, spectrum disorder, epilepsy, seizures, and things like that. But there's a couple different versions and styles of it that affect children differently. So it's a lot of unknowns.
Gotcha. And I want to deep dive into that because it's something when we had first connected that I'd never heard of before. So I know it's
Yeah,
not a super well known. So
same. Yeah,
I mean it's cool what you're doing is trying to like just one just spread information about it, which is and obviously and raise funds and get more information out there and research and everything. So we'll get into that in a second. But first couple questions I have for you was my rapid fire question. So I like doing these. They're kind of fun. Just get to know each other a little bit. But first one, are you in I think I remember. Are you in Middletown?
so I work in Middletown. We live in Warwick.
Cool. Okay, that's right. All right, cool. So this could be anywhere, but typically local. But favorite coffee shop.
Ooh, I I don't. I got a couple of good ones, but honestly, I'm a big like black coffee guy. So anywhere that has like a good nitro cold brew,
Nice.
just black that's like bold and dark, it kind of works for me. I'm not super picky, but I do like this place in Garden City in Cranston. And of course, I can't think of the name of it right now.
Garden City.
Oh man,
It's not Brewed Awakenings, is it?
no, no, but that's a great one. That's where I my first date with my wife actually. But
Oh,
so
nice.
maybe I'll go with that one.
All right, cool, cool, cool. We'll take it. Next question. I know you're a runner. What's your favorite running shoe right now?
So I'm a big fan of the low drop options, like the wide toe box. So I
Yes.
really like Topo Athletic
Cool.
um,
Cool.
and Ultras.
Nice.
Kind of
Nice.
like the not like the big brands, but they I really like the mechanics behind it.
Oh, totally. No, those are great choices. Do you have a favorite route or favorite place you like to go running?
Yeah, definitely. So I do road and trail, but I really love trail running. And I go to Big River Management Area
Oh
in kind
yeah.
of the West Greenwich Coventry
Yep.
line there.
Yep.
So I spend a lot of time there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I know people over in the Quinnipiac Island, Newport area probably are not getting over there too often, but if they want to cross that bridge, that is a definitely a
Oh
good
yeah,
place to go.
either that or Arcadia is great too.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah,
Um, uh, and I know you've done some distance races, some marathons, right? You said
yeah. I've done 6 marathons now, and then an ultra, but not like 100 miler. Just it was 32 miles. So I've done a couple of those as well.
so my next question is, do you have a most memorable race, most memorable marathon that you've done?
Um, I mean, the one I ran recently, the Newport Marathon, pretty much. I mean, because it was for Luke and for the Dup15Q Alliance. So that was definitely like the most meaningful one.
Totally.
But I mean, also just probably my first one, which was the Narragansett Marathon in 24. That was like,
Cool.
I've ran, I was in the Marines, so I was forced to run, didn't really enjoy it. And then probably, I mean, I got out in 2015. I lifted heavily for, 3 or 4 years because I can finally like get as big as I want. I didn't have restrictions on how heavy I could get and this and that. So probably around COVID, I really like took up running. Gyms were closed. I so got outside a lot and started running and fell in love with trail running and stuff. So that first, I was, the half marathon distance was good, but then I decided to just go for a full. I'm definitely like not a small, skinny running type, but I like pushing my boundaries and kind of seeing what my body can handle. So just crossing the finish line for my first marathon was also like huge for me.
That's cool. That's funny. That's my first marathon too, is Narragansett.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
it's a good one
that's a good one. Yeah.
for sure.
Kind of next kind of rapid fire, but doesn't have to be necessarily super short. I know you mentioned and you pull a lot of your experience from the Marines, from your time in the military. Um, do you have any memorable big takeaways or big lessons or anything of that sort that from the Marines that you've taken and then used, whether it's into fitness or into life or into fatherhood or anything like that?
Yeah, kind of all of that, but just I mean, um, all the kind of the discipline they instill in you is, I mean, it's paramount, and it's you can't. I mean, I'm biased being a Marine, but you can't get that type of discipline and training anywhere else. Of course, and like special forces and this and that, but just I guess I always like knew I wanted to be a Marine from a young age, but like I just taking on bigger things in yourself, and like it's even like boot camp. Like I still like think about boot camp and I'll get chills because like you are just kind of questioning yourself and your abilities, and every single day you're accomplishing things that maybe didn't think you could do, or you never even tried. But the leaders that I served with, I mean, are just there's nobody to this day and age besides my parents, especially my father, that have that sort of role to me. So I look back at my first squad leaders, guys that were in Iraq and Afghanistan, scout snipers. I served with a lot of great people, in just different backgrounds, and just kind of like suffering through deployments or field ops or whatever it is, and just you kind of just you don't have sick days, you just push through, and just like there's nothing else like it to this day. Working in the civilian sector now, it's just people complain about they get sick take a day off for having a cold or something, but yeah, I would say like the discipline and just like having those solid like role models for me, from graduating high school, going straight in, really helped me personally, and gave me like a lot of structure.
No, totally. That makes a lot of sense. And I know just from some of as a physical therapist, some of the guys I've seen, I've worked with some Marines in the past, and I know as far as the military branches, that's one of the ones they say, like one of the slogans is like you were, you are a Marine. Is that right? Or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
Once
Yeah.
a Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like those lessons that distilled, like they stay. It's doesn't go away.
Yeah, they have such like a connection with traditions, and like these little things that like, oh, why are we carrying our canteens this way, or like holding our trays in the chow hall a certain way at boot camp, and then like you get your M16 and you realize, oh, because we have to carry it, as parade rest and do drill and stuff like that, like everything starts to click, and it's like it's just some of it's like very old school, but it's
Sure.
you carry on those old traditions.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that. Good answer for sure. Um, Switching gears again a little bit, saying we're still on the rapid fire, which again they don't have to be rapid, but um, do you remember? And this could be recent too, but was there a particular workout that you were like, oh, that was one of the hardest workouts I've ever done?
Ooh. I running in full mop suits and mop gear, which is like the gas mask and the whole mop attire. Um, we my squad, when I was stationed in Guantanamo Bay, our nickname was the Mop Suit Mafia. We had a commanding officer that was obsessed with forcing us to get mopped up in that heat down there and do drills and run and stuff. So that was probably the worst. That, and like and running up hills and mountains and stuff in full gear and kitted up and that stuff. So
Sure. Nice. Love that. When it comes to running, and this is just more of like a personal thing, or preference, do you prefer like run clubs and group runs, or are you more of like a solo run guy, or workout solo, or class workouts?
um, right now I'm definitely more of a solo runner. I do, I enjoy when I do like the races and stuff. I love the atmosphere. I let everybody's out there like for the same reason, and like everybody seems just so happy, and like like, oh, they're gonna set a PR, or like this is their first time, and it's just like nobody's angry, and
Yeah.
everybody's like kind of helping each other out and like talking. Um, but I haven't, besides like the races, I kind of obviously trail running and stuff, kind of solo, extremely busy, so I don't have a lot of time to try to coordinate runs with groups. But I mean, I'm definitely up for that. I love it. But I just try to like get it in when I can. So unfortunately, sometimes I can't like plan that out. But
Totally. No, I mean, that makes a ton of sense. Um, and then how about from a nutrition standpoint? Do you have a favorite meal after like a hard workout or anything like that?
um, a big like protein and rice guy, honestly. Well, steaks. Yeah, definitely steaks. I've been getting like heavy into the. I got a new grill and it's been like cooking the best steaks I've ever had. So
Nice.
me and my wife are like doing steaks a lot more than we used to be. So probably I would say like a steak and rice or like a steak and like a good risotto or something.
Solid. So, do you have a particular cut of meat? Cut of steak?
Um, so I like New York. Um,
Yeah.
probably my favorite. That not I like the like, flank steaks more like tender ones.
Nice, nice. And then last question. So a little more personal on this one. And this is probably a hard question too, but so think about Luke, and think about his journey. If you could pick a word to kind of describe him and his journey, what would you say? A word or a phrase?
Um, oof, yeah, that's a very good question. Um, I would say that Luke himself and his journey is just I mean it's gonna sound like simple and cliche, but like the epitome of courage and strength.
Totally, totally. Love that. All right, so let's get into that a little bit next. So, kind of going back to um, Luke, tell us about kind of the story behind that, how you guys found out about the diagnosis, and then kind of what the diagnosis is, and kind of what goes along with it.
Um, yeah, I'm an emotional guy, believe it or not, so I'll
Do,
do my best to
do
stay
your
straight
thing.
here.
Do
But
your thing.
it is what it is.
No worries.
Um, so Luke has a twin. So Luke is a twin. He has a twin sister who's neurotypical, and then he also has a baby sister who's two. So the twins are four. Then they have a baby sister that's two, Aurora. So Aurora and Charlotte are girls. Um, but Luke, pretty much since birth, he was developing kind of at least for a boy right along. Even with Charlotte, he was a little bit behind because she's girls do developed a little bit faster than the boys.
Yeah.
But he was, he walked pretty early. He was talking normally when he should have been, singing like full songs, doing everything kind of on time, as far as we knew and the pediatrician did. And then I would say around 18 months, we kind of noticed like a pretty steep regression in his speech. He pretty much lost, I mean, everything. He was down to kind of maybe saying one word here and there every once in a while. So with that, of course, we took him into the Child Neurodevelopmental Center in Providence for Hasbro,
Mhm.
and we saw a specialist there. At that time, so that was around 18 months, he diagnosed Luke with global developmental delay. So obviously that means he's delayed in more than one area. Um, but he didn't diagnose him with autism or anything like that at the time. So we took that. It was that was disheartening, but just carry on. It is what it is, and he was from day one just a very special loving little boy. So we just do what we can, and then I would say probably another year passed or so. It kind of correlated with the beginning of him starting not school but like pre-K, um, daycare with his twin sister. Around that time when he first started, and after his baby sister was born, he had a second regression again. And this again, he kind of had lost everything. I say that it's more like it's really all the like cognitive stuff and speech. Physically, I wouldn't say he lost anything. He maybe like regressed a little bit with some of his physical stuff, but he's still like he can run. He can't like jump on his own. We're working on that. But like again, like he's regained after that first one. He regained most of his speech, probably 60-70%, and then that second regression hit, and he just it's kind of maybe even worse than the first one.
Mm.
So we went back to the same specialist. This time did another evaluation, and we got the autism spectrum disorder diagnosis. And with that, we had the opportunity to get genetic testing done. And I think I could be wrong on this number. I don't like throwing numbers out there, but I want to say that specialist, the doctor said at the time that like only like 10% of parent people get like results for like why he could have these this diagnosis go or like these characteristics.
Sure.
So his came back, and we found out that he had the duplication of his 15th chromosome, which is an extra copy or portion of chromosome 15. And again, I don't want to misspeak, but there's all kinds of numbers and portions of the chromosomes. So of course we were like, can you say that? What is that? And so that kind of started that whole journey there. Sorry, I don't want to like talk too, go too much. Like if I kind of answer the question, but then I carry on too much.
Carry on, because you're connecting the dots, and that's
okay.
I'm learning about it, so go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we got the diagnosis of a Dup15Q. So me and my wife were like, what is this? And it was kind of just navigating that. We went to certain special hospitals that I'm not gonna like throw under the bus. Not that they did anything wrong, but we were under the impression that they were great hospitals, and we go and they even tell us that they have specialists with this syndrome. And that I remember sitting there with my wife and Luke in a doctor's office, and they came in and they handed us the same articles and a couple of studies that we have already reviewed and gone over thoroughly ourselves. So like that was like kind of a kick in the gut for us, and we were like, if you don't know, don't say you do. And it was very disheartening. And then months go by trying to figure out what we should be doing. And he had always been, since that first diagnosis, we have him in speech. Obviously at that point we were able to get the IEP for school, so he has speech and OT at school, but we still get him extra services out of school, just so he can get the support he needs, and it's not just like once a week or something like that. So as much as we can, but all this of course comes with heavy costs.
Sure.
And so just trying to like figure out, do the best we can for him and get whatever he needs. I'll figure it out. I'll do whatever it takes. But yeah, it was a lot of unknowns. And then we luckily found the Dup15Q Alliance, which is what I raised money for the marathon, and what we're doing the 5K and the 1 mile walk in October for. So that's a community of families and children that have this same syndrome. And they have a Facebook group, all that. And it has been such a blessing, because you can go on there and kind of say, hey, has anybody dealt with this? And it'd be like, oh yeah, we tried this supplement, or we did this medication. And it's been great. But it's also, it's again something else that has like a spectrum of syndromes, symptoms, and different kinds of diagnosis with it. So it's just we're still learning every day. And my wife is unbelievable with it. I work during the day, she's at home with the kids, but then she also works at night when I get home. But during the day when she can, she's like spearheading all of this research for us, and she's doing like all this stuff for this walk coming up. She's been absolutely killing it. So yeah, she's been amazing. And we're just really trying to figure it all out and do what we can for him. But it causes autism. These kiddos can have like pretty rough seizures. Like some kids have tens, dozens of seizures a day. Some more violent, different kinds of seizures, of course. There's also unfortunately a risk of sudden death. And there's interstitial and isodicentric, and Luke's is interstitial, which tends to be more of the milder symptoms. Like he hasn't had seizures yet that we can tell. He did have an irregular EKG, EEG, but it didn't show seizure activity, but he had like a bad background that could be like this kind of like the start of seizures.
Gotcha.
But some, like I said, some kids have them like, numerous times a day. Um, there's physical features with it as well. Some kiddos aren't able to walk. Some of them are immobile. It's a lot of different stuff, and it's really hard to like wrap your head around. But it's also we also found out that it's the leading genetic cause of autism.
Wow. Okay. And like you said, it's pretty rare that it's hard to, or it's hard to pinpoint, it's hard to diagnose, or
Um, so my thinking is a lot of people maybe don't get the genetic testing done because we were like blessed we got it covered somehow through insurance, but it
nice.
was like a little bit of a fight. So I feel like some people maybe don't and they don't know.
Sure.
Um, so I'm sure that would like bring a lot of like the numbers up there possibly, but it's still like there's just and then it's hard as well because there's so many like rare things and like these terrible things and kids suffer from a lot of stuff, so it's I understand why sometimes not enough research, but it's when you're in it, it stinks. you know
Yeah, and it's and is there any reason behind that, like why there's not a ton of like you said, you only found like a few papers out there on it? It's not well researched, or is it not like a lot of money behind it, or
So
what?
I think it's kind of both things. I think it's more like recently with with the ability to test for it correctly,
Mm,
and then also like the funding behind it. It's not highly known, so people aren't going to throw a ton of money about it. But the alliances, like they're doing a great job. They have galas every year where donors can give money, and the specialists and so we do have like specialists and doctors that they like spearhead research and clinical trials for it, and they're starting to have like some good outcomes with some of the clinical trials for it as well,
cool.
which is great. But yeah, it's not like a huge thing, so
Sure.
unfortunately I don't think it gets the people don't know about it.
So the more awareness you can provide, the potentially better treatments or clinical trials. The hope would be, or
Yeah, exactly.
research.
That's why my wife was like, we found out this past year, and she's already like, I want it. There's no Believe Walk run in Rhode Island or in the area close to us, so I want to do it. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, let's do it. And then I ran the marathon, and I was like, I could now that I you know have such a personal connection to something I can fundraise for, let
Yeah.
me do that. And then definitely
Yeah.
the biggest motivator to not quit, like to cross over that line.
Sure, sure. Yeah, and I think that's really cool. You're like, all right, I have these skills, I have this dedication to my history and fitness and running, and you can like let me use that to help. And I know you had mentioned this either, so I'll ask you this question. Like, when did that switch happen, or I guess like how does it feel to have that switch happen, to be like, okay, every mile is now for Luke, or this is bigger than me at this point.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, before that, like I obviously like being a Marine and stuff, like I'm not one to like quit or like give they say pain is weakness leaving the body, right? So I try to push as far as much as I can, but there were still times where like even on lone runs, what I would start walking, or like I'd be like, all right, this is too much. Let me like stop or slow down, and then I start again. But like when it was like for him, I mean, even though like nobody's, I mean, it definitely like makes me hold myself accountable more to like I said I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna like walk it. That was my first marathon where I didn't like walk a
sure.
single step. Um, and I just it was I've been there where you have a purpose to finish things, and like the guy to your left, you can't let your brother to your left or right of you down. But this is again, it's just like a different beast, and it lit a fire in me that I didn't really know was there. Um, and you see it, especially when it's for one of your children.
Yeah, it's and and like you said, the Newport Marathon, you was that this past year, you said?
Yeah, it was the one this past April.
And so, and you had made the decision, all right, let me dedicate this marathon to Luke, and you raised, was it 9,000?
It was like 97 or 9,800. It was just under 10,000 for the
Wow.
Alliance.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and that was kind of like I had I think my goal was five.
Yeah.
So I almost doubled it. And I mean, again, the people that donate to that, you can't thank people enough because it's again so personal and like, people don't have to do that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Was there any just because it's a condition that a lot of people I would argue aren't familiar with, was it was it hard at all to be like, hey, I'm raising money for this cause, then having to be like explain what the cause is to each person?
Yeah, it's definitely easier when you can do like, like I've done fundraisers for like veteran organizations and stuff that everybody, Wounded Warriors, Soldier Suicide, which like
Sure.
great nonprofits. But everybody knows those ones, so it was definitely like interesting to do one that literally pretty much no one has heard of. So there's a lot of kind of outreach and sharing and I'm not a big like social media butterfly to like throw things out. I'll post on it and stuff, but I don't know how to do that very well. I'm getting better at it now with my
Sure.
wife, but so it was like a learning curve there, but again, like the support was unbelievable. And already with this walk, I think it's at almost 16,000. Our goal was 25. It's at almost 16,000. And we have an anonymous donor that's matching up to 25,000.
Wow.
So we're really trying to get there, and so it's going to be big for the Alliance. And
That's incredible. And I know you mentioned this already, but remind me. So this it's the Rhode Island Believe. Is it 5K you said, or 1 mile?
yeah, so it's a 5K run road race and then a 1 mile walk option
Okay.
as well. And it's I'm going to butcher it, but what is it? US to the certified course.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the acronym, but it's the
Yeah.
certified 5K course at Goddard Memorial State Park in East
Oh,
Greenwich.
yes. Like U.S. track and field or something like that.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
thank
or
you.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay, yeah, very cool. And is that race, is it specific for that condition? Uh DUP 15Q? How do you what's the acronym?
Duke 15Q.
15Q? Is it the Believe Walk Run? Is that specific for that, or is it a separate organization, or
So it is so like all funds are raised, they go to the Dup 15Q Alliance.
cool.
So the
Cool.
Alliance has like they're called the Believe Walk Run. That's like the name of the event, but
Sure.
it's all proceeds like go to the nonprofit, which is the Dup 15Q Alliance.
Gotcha. So the Believe events are directly from that alliance.
Yes, yep. Yeah, but like open, like anybody can sign up, of course.
Very cool, very cool. And like you said, you guys are already making good progress with getting awareness and getting funds raised for it.
Yeah. And again, I got to give that credit all to my wife. I've done what I can, but I mean, she's emailing people and calling companies and businesses for sponsorships and stuff like left and right. I mean, it's been she's been absolutely killing me.
And I think that I mean for Rhode Island too, I think I might have seen when I was doing a little research for this, like there have been like cool like local companies have been like, yes, we're gonna support you with this, or yes, I forget some of the names off the top of my head. I want to say maybe like Run Newport was helping with some stuff, but has that been helpful being a small state, Rhode Island, the community that they've seemed to uh really like everyone coming together and help out?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are like willing to kind of get behind it, even though they've again never heard of it. I know I think the owner of Run Newport, he donated. Um, we have like the company I work for is a large Believe sponsor. There's different like levels of sponsorships. So we have we have quite more sponsors than I thought that we would already at this point. So it's been like really unbelievable to see that, as I've never like, really had to do that luckily, but it's nice to see.
That's cool. Um, and then to reiterate as well, like the funding, a lot of this is for awareness, but the funding, I know you mentioned like for like clinical trials. Are they
Mhm.
are they looking for, or what are they looking for with those with those trials?
So there's actually there's one like ASO gene therapy, which
Cool.
is being used right now for something called Angelman syndrome,
Okay.
which is kind of like the opposite of Dup15Q. So it's a like total deletion of that portion of chromosome.
Interesting.
Um, in those, I don't, again, I don't want to like speak out of my terms, but I'm pretty sure those children, suffer from a lot of debilitating things as well,
Sure.
pretty severe stuff. But this gene therapy that they're currently, I think it's still a clinical trial, but it's shown a lot of potential for those kiddos. So that is something that the Alliance is like looking into heavily as well to use for our kids because it's a similar thing. So it helps to kind of like I think like gain back the portion of the chromosome, something like that. Again, I know it's very new still and confusing, but it shows a lot of potential with that, and they think it could really help with Dup15Q as well.
And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but are they thinking like as far as gene therapy, or they might not be sure at this point? Are they thinking more of like treatment, or even like potentially along the lines of like cure, or
The goal is a cure one day.
wow, that's
So it
cool.
seems like that's like something that's possible, which is
Wow.
huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a handful of like existing clinical trials right now. A lot that haven't like started taking participants. It's not at the
Sure.
human level trial yet, but there's I was looking at the graph, the table of them the other day, and there's at least a dozen or so, but only a couple are at like that human trial level. There's a lot, and there's also like different medications and stuff that they're looking into too. So it's kind of therapies and medications and yeah, potentially, hopefully, they talk about one looking at that the possibility of a cure, is definitely a thing.
That's really cool. Yeah, the gene therapy is something I feel like that's been on the bubble, like emerging for the past, I don't know, couple years or so. That's like, oh, it's like it seems like it's has the potential to be super helpful with a lot of different
Right. Yeah.
diseases, conditions, stuff like that. So that's cool. That's really cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. Um. Kind of to get just a general question too about or maybe potentially more of a personal question too. How old is Luke now?
He's 4.
For how is he yeah, I know you mentioned, I asked you the question earlier, courage was where he chose. How has he been kind of through this whole process?
So Luke is the like most calm and just like loving little guy I've ever come across.
It's awesome.
I our girls are so smart and like amazing, but I think because Luke isn't able to tell me what he wants or what he needs. So like, but you like he can't say that I love you, but I feel it. I feel it all the time with him. He presses his forehead against mine. He loves like some heavy compression squeezes and stuff. He'll come up to me and just grab my hand and pull me to his, we got like the OT swings and stuff in our basement for him. Um, so he has his way of communicating emotionally.
Mm,
And you just like every all of my parents, my wife's parents, like his grandparents, aunts and uncles, like everybody, they feel it. Like he just has this presence of like love and like emotion, on like a deeper level because he's unable to like say it, but like he's so happy and like go with the flow. Don't even he has his moments, as do
sure.
all children, of course, with the tantrums and stuff like that. But I can't even like, oh, I could go on. He is just like the sweetest little like, and it's very strong, but like
Wow.
so gentle and so
Yeah.
good. Like with his sisters, he's like so good. They'll come up and like kind of bug him or like grab him and hug him, and he's just like kind of just like get off me. But he doesn't get mad. He doesn't like cry or scream. He's just like, okay, all right. They'll hug him and like give him a kiss, and he'll just be like, that's nice, and then just carry on.
like a
but
boy.
he is, yeah, yeah. But you know, he's the best, and he's everybody that you know, my wife gets a little upset sometimes, but everyone that we, even like strangers, that like, wow, he is like your twin. You know,
Really?
yeah, he looks just like me. Um, but he's just so. But you know, I have such a connection with all my children. Don't get me wrong,
Sure.
but because of this, it's like it's just a little like more emotional, I would say.
Totally, totally. Oh, that no, that's super cool. And I know you mentioned earlier you've been he's running around right now and you're trying to work on jumping.
Yeah, so he like runs and climbs, does pretty much everything on the playground pretty well. But like he won't really jump. Um, and I, you know, it's again like a lot of stuff is like I don't know if he just can't or if he just, you know, isn't, he just doesn't care enough to at this point. But like so it's a lot of like kind of doing the motions with him and kind of training him to do it on command. But yeah, he's, besides that, he, you know, he's running around. But with that is like, you know, the worry of elopement and stuff like that because
Fair.
he spends a lot of time on my shoulder, and you know, he also like fatigues pretty easy. Um, so like I can tell when he's getting tired, I'll throw him up my shoulders, which kind of goes into the fitness stuff as well and why I need to work out. Um, but yeah, but he's, you know, he runs around. It's kind of like a misdirected, I would say.
Sure, sure. All right, so just a couple questions just to wrap up here, and then we'll let you get out of here. So again, could be a little bit more personal, but um, as far as with the diagnosis, um, and everything you guys have been through, how has that changed the way you think maybe about fitness, family, and just kind of like success, just in general, and put like kind of what really matters in life?
Um, yeah. So I still kind of struggle with that since I got out of the military. I struggled a lot with like the sense of purpose. You know, I went to college, did this and that, but nothing like fulfilled me like the military did. Um, until I married my wife, that of course helped. But then having the twins, and seeing my babies for the first time and like becoming a father, I think I realized what my mission was now. And then when Luke got the diagnosis and the stuff began happening with him, realizing that, you know, your mission's been altered, and you know things are going to be done a little differently. Um, you know, you may not get to do t-ball with your boy. You might not be able to coach him in sports, um, but you're going to be his advocate, and you're going to take care of him. And that's kind of, it took, you know, it's was very frustrating at the beginning to kind of come to that realization. Um, but that's what it is. And I know that, you, I don't like, people say things happen for a reason, but I think that he was sent to my wife and I for a reason. I think that we are the people for him, and his sisters. Um, but that kind of like, of course, like altered the course, not in a bad way, but we're taking a different road than most people. And again, there's other people that have it far worse. So I try not to like complain or get negative. But I think that's also okay to do that.
Sure.
So I think just coming to that realization and knowing that like, all right, things are going to look differently for us, and that's okay. Um, but that's, again, like everything now like has like a purpose behind it. Working out now isn't about like just my ego or hitting PRs or just like pushing through the pain or like trying to be like David Goggins or like, God bless him. Can never would compare myself to him, but like it's like it's different now. It's I kind of like mentioned earlier, like Luke spends a lot of time on my shoulders. He's 4 and he's a big little 4-year-old. So he's getting heavy. And I just had spine and neck surgery and stuff. So I and heart surgery this almost past year.
Oh,
So it's been a crazy year.
oh,
Um, but with that said, like I need to make sure that I am and again, I don't consider myself like in like the tip top shape or like I know that I can be better,
mhm.
and I will be better for him and for the girls, and for my wife. But like my plan is to always be able to put Luke up my shoulders when I need to, and I
That's
will carry him across any finish line that is in front of me.
that's awesome. I love that. That's a great mission. That's a great purpose right there.
Thank you.
You got it. Um, so here's a similar question, another deep question, but um, so obviously there's you have your Facebook group, you have your small but growing community for the uh uh, uh I hope I want to say this wrong again. Dup15Q,
Yep. Yep.
Dup15Q.
Yep.
Um, and if you could give someone, and it could even be a different condition, but if you give a message to somebody who's fighting a similar battle, um, a message when it could be related to family, community, or a cause, what would you tell them?
Um, Man, I would probably go to like one of my favorite quotes. And it's from I think it's from it's a kid's book, but I think it's very good for adults as well. It's the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. It's filled with a lot of like great quotes and still little short stories. But the mole like asks the boy, "Is your glass half full or half empty?" And then the boy replies, that he's just glad to have a glass.
That's good. That's really
So,
good.
and I think we all spend too much time either worrying about things or being anxious about things or what could go wrong. Um, or you can have the opposite where people are just super positive, which is great, but they don't even care, like, they have it all or whatever. But when you have, whether it's, I hate to, I don't even want to call this a tragedy, but like when you have hurdles or like, things are hard, especially for when it's your children and you just need to advocate for them. Um, you wake up every day, you see the sun and you have a purpose to just continue fighting. And it's bigger than you. And it's, there's always a new day and they, yeah.
Oh, no, that's great. I think that's incredible, and I like that quote. I mean, I've heard iterations of that. I haven't actually heard of that book, but I have to check it out. But I like the way that's said. I like
Yeah,
the way
it's
they talk
very
about
good.
that.
There's a lot of good ones in there. My mother gave it to me like years ago, and I was like, "Mom, this isn't this a kid's book?" And she was like, "I think you'll like it. There's a lot of good stuff in there." And
That's
here I
great.
am
Can
quoting
you,
it.
can you say the name of it one more time? The name of the book?
So it's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse.
Love that. Okay, I want to check that out. Um, all right, so that was my last question for you. Like kind of favorite quote, favorite mantra. So you crushed it with that. So kind of where I want to leave you, or where to let people know. So you have that big event coming up. You have the 5K 1 mile run, the Believe Run. Remind me,
Yes.
what day is that again?
So that's October 3rd,
Cool.
Saturday, and it's held at the Goddard State Memorial Park in East Greenwich.
Awesome.
And
So
there's going to be food trucks live. We got again. This all like shows you like how much more it's been like killing it.
yeah.
We have a band doing live music. We have local food trucks. The police department and the fire department doing touch of trucks for the kids.
Cool.
We'll have like a couple companies doing like free like fidget toys and things like that. Um, yeah, and it's again 5K run, 1 mile walk. It's gonna be pretty good. It's cool also like as a runner to like help to put on like a race. We have timers come in to do the whole timing system and bibs and stuff for the participants. So it's it's been a lot of fun.
And for the people who are like even just like into running, like to have it on the field, you said it's a USA track and field event. So it's like you're gonna get a precise, you get a timing chip, you'll get a precise.
Oh yeah, it's a legit 5K event.
Because some of those events are like, oh, it's kind of 5K, kind of 1 mile. But if it's US track and field, like that's gonna be a very pure. You get a very pure time for that one.
Oh yeah, it's a legit 5K. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And then kind of finally, where can people, if they want to reach out or they want to sign up, like what do you have for resources, whether to reach out to you or the organization or?
So they can, if they just want more information, they can go to, so the Dup15Q Alliance has a great website with their mission and just kind of explaining what Dup15Q syndrome is. But as far as for the event, people can go to, give me 1 second.
Sure.
So it's charity.pledgeit.org / Rhode Island.
Gotcha. Yep.
And that's kind of like for the Believe Walk for the Rhode Island one. And that's where you can sign up. You can make a team. You can just donate if you want. Yeah, all the information for the event is there and some information about the Dup15Q syndrome as well. And all the sponsors and stuff like that.
Oh, you guys get the Felix Brown band. They're awesome.
Yes. Yeah. They're
I love
amazing.
That band.
Yeah. They were so good about it too. And we just went to see them and they recognized us and came over and said October 3rd, they're great guys.
I've seen them a couple of times at Newport Blues Cafe back in the day when I was living in Newport.
Yeah, they're really good. Great. And they're they do like the hip hop and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, they do a great job.
No, that's awesome. Very cool. All right. We'll wrap up with that. And thank you so much for jumping on.
No, Matt, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You got it.